Voice of God, Volume 1, page 97, Vedic Religion. The religion without a name. The religion, what we call now Hindu religion, has really no such name. Hindu means love. Some people say that a Hindu is one who opposes violence. This is a clever way of putting it. In our ancient Shastras, there is no such word as Hindu religion. We have been given the name Hindu by foreigners. Those foreigners who came from the northwest had to cross the Sindhu river to come to Bharat. Is it not? Therefore, they called Sindhu as Hindu, the land beyond that as India, and his religion as Hindu. It is the practice to call a country by the name of the bordering country. I shall tell you something funny. In the north, any Bairagi who seeks alms will be given alms immediately. The Bairagis have a grievance that people of the south do not give alms in the same way. They sing a song. A line in the song says, Ille popo kahe telungi. This means that Telugus deny them alms by saying no alms, go away. But Telugus will not say popo but will say vellu vellu. Po is a Tamil word. It is the Tamil people who would have said so. If so, what is the reason for the Bairagi song referring to Telugu people? When the Bairagis travelled down south from the north, they first crossed the Telugu region, Andhra. Therefore, these Bairagis thought the region beyond that also is Telugu land. It is the same logic that governs the Telugus calling the Tamil land as Aravanadu. A small region south of Telugu land is called Arava. They gave the same name to the region beyond that. It is in this manner that the foreigners who first saw the Sindhu land named the Bharat beyond that as Hindu land. But Hindu is not our original name. We talk of Orthodox religion, Sanatana Dharma, etc. If we think whether that is the name, it is not so. When we look into our basic religious literature, no name has been mentioned for this religion. When I thought of this, I felt quite sorry. Let me keep that aside. One day, someone told me Ramu has come. Immediately, thinking of old days, I asked him, which Ramu? You are asking which Ramu? Does it mean there are several by that name? Asked the others. It was then I realized that I had asked that question because of old memories. There were 4 persons by the name of Ramu in our place. So, in order to distinguish between them, we used to refer to each as Black Ramu, Fair Ramu, Tall Ramu, Short Ramu. With that in mind, I had asked which Ramu, even at a place where there was only one Ramu. When there is only one Ramu, there is no need for an adjective to specify that Ramu. Immediately, I understood why our religion has no name. Only when there are several religions, a name is required to distinguish one from the other. If there was only one religion, where was the need for a name for that religion? Except our religion, all other religions were founded in the name of a prophet or a great person. Before the time of such a great prophet or great person, that particular religion did not exist. If it is Buddhism, it was founded by Gautama Buddha. So, it was not there before him. Jainism was founded by Mahavira Jain. Christianity was founded by Christ. It is clear that each religion has been founded in the name of a great person. When it is said that the great person founded the religion, it is clear that it was not there before him. Our religion existed much before these religions came up. This one religion had spread all over the world. Since there was no religion other than this, there was no need to name it. When I realized it, my grievance disappeared. Along with that came also a sense of pride about this religion. Granting that this religion was the ancient one, The question may arise as to who had founded it in those ancient times. When we try to find out who had founded this nameless religion, it is not possible to find any founder despite much research. When we think whether we could point out Vyasa who wrote the Brahma Sutra or Lord Krishna who spoke the Gita, we find that they too talk about the Vedas which existed before them. If we think we can specify the rishis who sang the Veda mantras, they say, we have not composed the Veda mantras. If you tell them, we have received the Veda mantras in your names, when we chant every mantra, we mention one of your names and touch our head. They say, it is true that these mantras came to the world through us. That is why we are called mantra rishis. They came through us, but we did not compose them. When we were in deep meditation, controlling the mind, these mantras appeared before us in the skies. We only saw them, mantra drishta, not composed, mantra karta. All sounds emanate from space, akash. It is from them that srishti, creation, came up. In science, the same thing is explained by saying that because of the vibrations that occurred in space, the universe came up. By the power of their penance, the rishis saw in space the sounds that can uplift the jivas from this world. But they did not compose them. They saw the mantras, not created by a person, apaurisheya. These Vedas are the breath of the Paramatma, who is of the form of space. The rishis found them and gave them to the world. If we understand this, far from my feeling that the founder of our religion is not known, we all will feel proud about the same. We will be extremely elated that we are the inheritors of the ageless religion which follows the Vedas, which are the breath of the Paramatma. Religion that had spread the world over. What we call today as Hindu religion was the only religion that had prevailed all over the world in olden times. Since that was the only religion in the world, there was no need to assign a name to it. It is my view that because of this, there is no name for our religion in our basic text. If we look at any old archaeological researches, we find several features of our Vedic religion in other countries. For example, there is an archaeological find in Egypt. It is a document relating to a treaty entered into between two kings 1300 years before Christ and has been dug out. In this, it has been stated that the witness to the treaty is Mitra Varuna. Mitra Varunas or Devatas mentioned in our Vedas. About 70% of the names of places in Madagascar seem to have Sanskrit roots. There is relationship between Ramesas, a royal name, and our Rama. In the southern hemisphere, there are several symbols of our religion. During our Navaratri, there is a festival in Mexico. It is called Ramasita. Wherever the earth is dug, Pillayar idols are found. Before the Spaniards entered the country and captured it, the old inhabitants there were called Aztecs. This is a distortion of the word Azteca. In Peru, exactly at the time of Holy Vishu, first day of Chaitra, people perform pujas in the temples for Surya. They are called Incas. Inan is a name for Surya. Are we not calling Rama Inakula Tilakan? I have seen in a book, Spencer Killan, Native Tribes of Central Australia, pages 128 129, pictures of Australian tribes dancing naked. Below the picture, the caption given as Shiva dance. I examined it carefully. On the forehead of every one of the dancers, a third eye had been drawn. In Borneo Island, a huge forest was considered as virgin forest where no one had entered since creation. When researchers entered it and made research, a document was found which had been written in letters similar to our Grantha Lipi. The document contains the following information. A particular king performed a particular yajna. The Upastambha was planted at a particular place. He gave away Karpaka Vriksha as gifts to Brahmins. This is called Upa inscription of Mulavarmam of Kote. It is the same Englishmen who ridiculed our religion who found out these things and publicized them. There is something more than all these which occurs to me, and I shall tell you. It may look funny. The Sagaras dug up and went down to Patal Lok in search of the Yajna horse. The ocean that was formed then came to be known as Sagar after their name. Finally, they found the horse near Kapila Maharshi's ashram. Thinking that he had stolen the horse, they subjected him to cruelty. He started at them and with that one stare reduced them to ashes. This is part of the Ramayana story. If we take America, which is exactly opposite to our country as Patal, Kapilaranyam, which is there may be California. Kapilaranya distorted as Kapilaranya and now California, just as Madurai has become Marudai. Close to that we have Horse Island and Ash Island. One another thing also occurs to me regarding Sagara and Sagaram. It is said that Sagara desert also was a sea once. I am inclined to think that Sagaram became Sahara. Sagaram became Sahara. Seeing that all over the world there are relics of our religion, researchers say that some of our people went there. People of that country came here. Several interchanges took place. To me, it was only one Dharma that existed all over. It appears that these relics are of those who have lived there from the beginning. Looking at the evidences that have come up, which are within the period of recent history, that is, within about 2000 or 3000 years, researchers say that Indians had moved to these countries and either wiped out the civilizations that existed there and introduced Hindu civilization, or those civilizations were absorbed into Hindu civilization. But there are relics of the Orthodox religion 4000 years old or even more in several countries. In other words, even as civilized life started in these countries, these aspects of the Orthodox religion were already there. A separate religion for the Adivasis of these countries appeared only later. Thus, in Greece, an ancient religion came up in which big temples were built and people worshipped at these temples. In this religion also, there are aspects of our Orthodox religion. In the period before Christ, Semitic and Hebrew religions were there in the area where Christ lived. In these religions, there are aspects of Vedic religion, including a kind of Varna Ashrama division. The aborigines of Mexico follow different religions. They have also seen divinity in different aspects of nature and worship them as different devatas, similar to what is said in the Vedas. These aborigines also have a lot of rituals. Today, none of these religions have survived, including that of Greece, Hellenic, which had peaked to its zenith. In all these places, it is mostly Christianity. Right up to Japan, through Central Asian and East Asian countries, Buddhism has spread. In many places, there is Islam. In the forests of South Africa, among the original inhabitants of the place, the religions being practiced are their original religion, say the researchers. Even in such ancient religions, there are aspects of our Orthodox religion. I shall give an example. Before that, I shall refer to one other matter. When philosophical truths are explained, it is the usual practice to present them in the form of stories. Only then ordinary people can understand them easily. They cannot digest philosophical truths as they are. Either they should be given a story form or should be introduced into a ritual, and people should be made to perform such rituals. It is only when religious rituals are performed the philosophical truths they symbolize will be understood. In saying this, I am not one with those who argue all rituals are symbolic. It is enough if the inner meaning symbolized by rituals is understood. There is no need for rituals. A ritual by itself does have power. In the same manner, I do not say the stories of Puranas only explain high truths. They should not be taken as real events. In fact, they are all noble narratives of what had actually happened. At the same time, they themselves show us the philosophical truths. In the same way, they all have philosophical meanings in rituals that yield immediate benefits and then give the mental power that does not seek any reward and gives us merit. But over a long period, such stories or rituals get divested of their inner meanings, which are the philosophical truths, or they may be forgotten altogether. In foreign lands, when religions develop without relationship to the Vedic religion of thousands of years, this is how the orthodox philosophical truth got completely changed. I shall now come to the example which I wanted to give. You must have heard of the story of Adam and Eve in Hebrew religion. There was such a thing as tree of knowledge. It was Lord's commandment that the fruit of the tree should not be eaten. Adam obeyed it and did not eat it, but Eve ate it. Then Adam also ate it, thinking, whatever happens to Eve, let it happen to me. This is in the Genesis of the Old Testament. It is one of our Upanishad truths that has taken the form of this story. When this happens due to change in place and time, it got distorted to the extent that the original truth itself is lost. What does the Upanishad say? There are two birds sitting on the pipal tree. One eats the pipal and other keeps looking on without eating, says the Upanishad. The body is the tree. In that tree, one thinks himself to be Jivatma and eats the fruit, while the experiences through the senses. He is one bird. In the same body, there is Paramatma as another bird. He is the one who moves Jivatma to act, but he does not move. He keeps looking at the action of the Jivan and remains a witness. Although he is the support to the Jiva, he does not experience through the senses, does not eat the fruit, and does not experience the fruits of action. The Upanishad explains this in a poetic manner with a metaphor of the birds and the fruits. One who eats is the Jivan. One who does not eat is the ultimate truth. One who has realized that he is the Atma. It is this Jivan who has become Eve in the Hebrew religion. Ji becoming E is according to a rule of grammar. It is common that the words of the Ja series become words of Ya series. This is how Yamuna became Jamuna, Yoginder became Joginder, Jiva became Eve, Atma became Adam, Pipal became Apple. The tree of knowledge is our Bodhi tree. Bodham means knowledge. It is known to everyone that Buddha attained jnana under the Bodhi tree only. But even before Buddha, the pipal tree was called the Bodhi tree. When Upanishad took a new form after a long time in a distant land, its basic import, Tatparya, got changed. By saying that the Atma, which can never subject itself to sense experience, ate the apple, the story in the Bible takes a different turn. While our Bodhi tree represents the knowledge in which all sensual pleasures get annulled, they have said that the worldly knowledge of sensual experience is the tree of knowledge. Even so, are we not getting evidence for the fact that our Vedic religion was there in ancient times? Only if I give another example, you will believe that the original will undergo major change in another country in another time, or that even if it has changed, the changed thing will still show off the original. Our Tirupavai and Tiruvambavai are not as ancient as the Vedas. According to researchers, they may be about 1500 years old. In any case, both Manikavachakar and Andal, who had composed this, belong to a period much later than Vedas and Itihasas. Much after that time, Hindu empires came up beyond the seas. Even the Chola kings of Tamil Nadu had extended their rule beyond the seas. But what is more important to be mentioned is the trade and commerce that took place across the seas rather than the invasions by the Cholas. Our foreign contact grew through trade and commerce. In many countries, people were attracted to the Hindu civilization by their contacts with our merchants and adopted several features of our religion. The countries of the Far East must be specially mentioned in this context. Countries like Pali became wholly Hindu. Cambodia, Siam, which is now called Thailand, Indochina, and Philippines, came under the influence of Hindu culture. That is referred to as Sri Vijaya Empire. So, in very ancient times, Vedic religion was in all places. That was one stage. Then, the next stage was that new religions came up here and there. Then, these new religions declined, and only Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism spread in these places. Then, during the period about which there is historical evidence, Hindu civilization again came to life in several countries, especially the eastern countries. It is during this stage that great temples like those of Tamil Nadu came up in Angkor Perappudur, Prambanan. It is at this stage that our Tirupavai and Tiruvambavai went to Siam, now called Thailand. As evidence of this, even now, every year when we recite these holy texts during the Tamil month of Margashirsha, a big festival is celebrated there. Just as the two Pavais, Tirupavai and Tiruvampavai, bring together Saivism and Vaishnavism, in this festival in Siam, a person dressed like Shiva is made to sit on a jula, swing, and Dolotsavam is performed. Dolotsavam is usually performed for Vishnu. But if it is asked whether they know anything about the two Pavais, they just do not know anything. If that be so, simply because that festival takes place in Margazhi, it can be argued that this alone cannot be the basis for linking it with the Pavai. The reason why I say like this is that they call this festival itself as Trayam Pavai, Tripavai. Those who read the Bible now do not know anything about the Upanishads, but they know the story that came from it. Similarly, although the people of Thailand have completely forgotten the chanting of Tirupavai and Tiruvampavai, the Dolotsavam festival they conduct in the same Dhanurmas, Margashirsh, for the person dressed as Shiva still retains its name as Trayampavai, Tripavai. If such a change could have occurred within the span of recorded history, would not things have got distorted 3 or 4,000 years ago in foreign lands? Despite so much change, the symbols of Vedic practices still show themselves up as if calling out, "We are here." If symbols of our religion are to be found even among the Adivasis of prehistoric period, what does it mean? If it is suggested that Indians had invaded or went trading to these distant lands in such remote times when there was no civilized life there and then spread our culture there, it would not be appropriate. That is why I think It was not carried from here and introduced there, but in ancient times, only Vedic religion prevailed all over the world. Later, they would have got distorted again and again, and now came to be considered as the original of those countries. And then religions like Christianity, Buddhism, Islam of the period known to history must have spread.